Hi, this is HardballRetro. Welcome to the Retrodome. This video is a companion to a series of articles on my HardballRetro.com website. The main article is located under the Retro Replays category and is titled Hardball Retro Replays, Sim Seasons with Original and Actual Half-Decade Rosters. The original rosters are based on the research from my book Hardball Retrospective, where I assigned every Major League ball player to the first team that signed them to a professional MLB contract. Each player remains on their assigned original team for the duration of their careers. I take the top 40 players for each roster based on win shares, using each player's best season in a 5-year period. I run the simulation for at least 10 seasons in each half-decade. The team with the highest victory total during a given season receives 1 point. If 2 or more teams tie for the lead, each receives a half point. The team with the most points after 10 seasons is declared the winner. However, if no team led or tied for the lead in at least 4 out of 10 seasons, the simulation continues until one team reaches that criteria. The main article includes a full explanation of my methodology, along with links for each replay's recap and season-by-season results. So we're using Digital Diamond Baseball version 11.2.9 for my replays, but by the time I'm through with all of the various half-decades and seasons, I'll probably be running version 12 or better. So what I'd like to do now is just run through the box score search tool, season overview, and go through some of the various features of Digital Diamond, along with showing the results from this particular year or half decade, which is the 1985 through 1989 season. And again, this is the originals, so if you're not completely familiar with the concept of originals versus actuals, basically what I'm doing with the originals is I take every ball player. I used the RetroSheet transaction database, the layman database. I'm using win shares, and basically putting all of these players back on the first team that they signed a professional major league contract with. And then once I assign them to that team or franchise, they remain with that franchise for the duration of their career. So just looking at the screen in front of us here, Carney Lansford is an Angel so this particular replay is 85 through 89 when he was a member of the Oakland A's, but for the purposes of being assigned to his original team, he is a member of the Angels here. So you're looking at some of the other players on the roster here: Floyd Rayford, Tom Brunansky, obviously in this time frame was primarily on the Minnesota Twins. Most of these folks were actually on the Angels during this period. Let's just scroll down a bit. Mariners, Dave Henderson dealt from the Mariners to Boston in '86, I think, middle of '86. He was on Boston, then he was on Oakland. Again, majority of these folks actually played for the Mariners during this time frame, but the idea is that they get pinned to those teams. So the same here. Clay Parker, I think he was probably a Yankee during that period. Don't recall exactly, but at any rate, so just looking at the box score tool here, right? You can search on any variety of criteria, but I just pulled this one up just because my Angels won, and Wally Joyner had 2 homers. Brunansky had 1, Devon White had 1, Gary Pettis hit 1, and the Angels ran away with this victory, which was their first game in the 1985-89 original replay versus the Mariners. I just wanted to point out here where it says 8501. So this is how I indicated the year, the iteration of the replay that we were going through. So I would run a complete season, 8501. The next season, I would, I would back up the stats, dump the stats into the encyclopedia within the game, so it'll track the career numbers, and then I would run change the schedule to read 8502, 8503, and so forth. So you'll see that in a bit here. So you've got a game summary, which is pretty straightforward. Then you've got the newspaper box score, which is, if you're familiar with the old school newspaper boxes, I think a lot of them even didn't carry the walks and strikeouts back until probably the mid 80s. These additional stats started appearing here. Then you've got the extended box. I'm going to expand this here. And we've got all of the additional numbers here. Same stats, just listed in a slightly different manner, but there are all the fielding numbers listed. We've got chances, putouts, assists, errors, what position they played during the game, and so forth. What lineup profile was used, where it was played. This was in the Kingdom. Scorecard. So this is a neat feature. So this will show, let's just look at Wally Joyner for a second here. Home run, 2 RBIs, run scored, ground out 6-3, fly out 9 to right field, obviously strikeout, and then in the 9th, homer, 2 RBIs, run scored. So this is a neat way of looking at what the players did in a particular game, and you've got play-by-play. So this is how the actual play-by-play read out the text-based descriptions during the game. So we've got, here's Joyner's home run in the first inning. So that was the actual call. And then if you want to just look at the scoring plays, you can just see that exact play when Joyner hit the home run. All right, so we could spend quite a bit of time on the box score tool, but I just wanted to give an example of that. We're going to back out of this. And again, 1985-89 Hardball Retro Originals. And I'm going to look at the season overview. When I create these libraries, I do import player photos and team logos. I try to take the logo from this time period, so hopefully I haven't made any blatant errors with those. So we're looking at, this is the, got over here in the right hand corner, the 8501. So we're looking at the first replay that I did for the 85 through 89 originals. You've got the Indians ahead in the American League East by 2.5 over the Tigers, 7 over the Red Sox. And in the AL West, we have the Twins over the Angels by 8 games. The Angels did finish up 9-1 in their last 10. Looks like that helped them finish second over the Royals and the A's. Okay, National League East. Got the Mets and the Pirates both winning 100 games. The Mets coming out on top with 104 victories, a 260 run differential. I didn't look at that up top here. Anybody with a good run diff? White Sox with a really horrible one, negative 246. Boston plus 146. And let's see what we're looking at here. So and we've got the Giants ahead in the West, beating the Dodgers by 3 games. So when I'm looking at the season by season results, the Mets with 104 victories would get the point because they had the most wins in this given replay. So let's just take a look at the leaderboard, individual stats here. So what's nice is it includes all the player photos, and we have folks that you would expect to see here. Wade Boggs, obviously, Kirby Puckett, Jim Rice, 86. I do use the feature where it tags the last 2 digits of the year to the player last name, and that way I know what year I'm using from their actual stats. So what this means is during the time period from 1985 to 1989, that Wade Boggs' highest win shares total came in 1986. So that's why I used his 86 season. The same would be, Kirby Puckett's 5-year stretch. His 1988 season was the best based on win shares, and so forth. We got Carney Lansford, Don Mattingly. What I'd like to see here, though, is sometimes there's folks that you may not expect, or okay, Corey Snyder. Yes, he was a home run hitter. Probably would not expect to see him in the lead with 51 dingers over McGuire with 48. Most folks probably recognize Howard Johnson for his time with the Mets, but he did start out with Detroit, so it's 47, tied with Mike Young, Orioles, 47. You might see, or you might notice some discrepancies here. Well, and think like, well, how did Mike Young hit 47? 85 was definitely his best year. I think he had 28 homers. So, you may think 47 is probably out of the realm of possibility for him. Maybe 30 to 35 at the most. But on the other hand, it might be an issue with playing time where when these rosters are constructed, maybe Mike Young is the best fit for an everyday lineup spot, and he just got enough playing time to bump his totals up. I'm not saying that's the case with Young specifically, just throwing that out there. If you see somebody on here and you're like, oh, there's no way he would have done that, that is potentially why. RBIs, again, Snyder, 50. If you're going to hit 51 homers, you're going to knock in a bunch of runs. Scroll down here a bit. So we got National League, Dave Parker over Steve Sachs, Tony Gwynn. I would expect Gwynn to be up here pretty much in most, if not all, of these replays. Randy Milligan, not expected, but 313 in this particular year. Mike Aldretti, also probably not someone I would have expected to see in there, but that's what makes these interesting to me, at least. You may look at season 2 and maybe one of these guys drops down to a 240 batting average, right? So, okay, Kevin Mitchell, based on his 89 season, would definitely expect these type of numbers. Eric Davis, that was his best year in 87. believe that was 37 homers and 50 steals or something like that. So, okay, Jack Clark, Darryl Strawberry, Mike Marshall. Yep, I wouldn't dispute most of those folks being in there. Now this is where it can get a little quirky and interesting, is with the pitchers, right? And let me also mention here, what is the plus sign? Well, I'll let you know what the plus sign means, right? So Dickie Knowles with a plus sign. We're going to bring up Dickie Knowles. Okay. So Dickie Knowles was not an original member of the Minnesota Twins. That's not who he signed his first pro contract with. I'll be back out of this. But you can also see here his numbers. These are his actual numbers, the 4-2, 45 games, right? And in this particular replay, he went 15-3, kind of working a little bit in the rotation, mostly out of the pen. But they really stretched him, beyond what he would normally pitch that year, and it was probably just because the way the Twins roster was constructed is that they needed innings from him. So his WHIP wasn't great, but his ERA was pretty stout. So, but we could replay this 10 times, and he could have an awful season. But to get back to the plus sign is a player that I needed to fill in a roster spot. So it's a player that didn't make it onto the top 40, didn't make it onto his roster for his original team. However, the Twins had a gap probably in their relief staff. And so I had to use players. Basically, I looked at the players, whoever didn't make it, and that were the top remaining players that didn't make a 40-man roster. So if somebody was missing a backup catcher or a relief pitcher, so forth, that's where these fill-ins come in, and I put the plus sign just to differentiate them from the rest of the group. You'll see that here. Rick Anderson was a fill-in. We'll probably see a few of those sprinkled throughout here. And the other qualification there was that to be in the starting or the opening day roster, the top 25 players on the team, I had a cutoff of a minimum of 5 win shares. So if a player didn't meet that criteria, that meant there was an open slot that I had to fill with a fill-in player. So anyway, enough on that. So the leaders, Dickie Knowles, Ed Lynch, Rick Anderson. None of these three you would expect to be here. But again, that's what makes this kind of interesting and fun, is some of these guys that, are plugins, will sometimes filter up into these, into the leaderboards here. But you'll also see folks that you recognize. Okay, John Smoltz, Brett Saberhagen, win leaders, Clemens. Probably would not expect Ken Schrom. But again, let's say, I think in '86, maybe he won 14 games. But pitching for a different team, different offense, a different defense behind him, maybe that makes the difference in a few victories here and there. Danny Jackson, 18. Tewksbury, 18 for the Yankees. And Mike Witt, 18 for the Angels. Dave Righetti, I would expect in the save leaders. Doug Jones, again, you'll see Brewers. He was an original Brewer. He was not. He wound up on the Indians, maybe 1986 somewhere time frame. And again, Righetti, Rangers, not Yankees, right? McGaffigan was closing for the Yankees in this particular league. Andy McGaffigan, Dale Mahorsic, right? Blue Jays 35 saves. Dan Quisenberry 35, I would expect. The Royals there. Okay, here's a prime example. Nolan Ryan, Mets, 1.84 ERA. It's pretty sweet. Eric King on the Giants. Tim Leary, Mets. Doc Gooden, Mets, of course. You would expect Doc Gooden. I'm sure in some seasons he's right up there, either first or second in ERA probably. Mike Scott with his best year in '86. You've got Fernando Valenzuela, 23 wins. Doc Gooden with 21. Joaquin Andujar. But again, in '85 in real life on the Cardinals, '85 here, he's on the Reds. Dennis Cook, Steve Farr, I would not expect to be up there. But again, given the right situation, maybe they do come through with a 15 to 17 game win season. Who are we looking at here? Save leaders, Dwayne Bice for the Giants. Interesting. He had one really good year for the Angels, which was '87. Gene Garber, Pirates. Longtime Braves pitcher, of course. John Franco, Dodgers, 32 saves. Donnie Moore with the Cubs. Mark Davis with the Phillies. So, Digital Diamond will tabulate MVP votes and Cy Young votes. So, not 100% sure how those are calculated, but that's the results here. Is that it awarded Howard Johnson the MVP in the American League and Kevin Mitchell in the National League. There's the top 5 for each, and then the Cy Young, Bob Tewksbury by 10 votes over Roger Clemens, and Ken Schrom and Danny Jackson all received 230. So that was a really tight race there. And Fernando Valenzuela with 295 over Doc Gooden's 275 and Nolan Ryan's 230. There's a little who's hot. Current hitting streaks. We won't get into these too much. Recent highlights, games to watch, and so on. All right. And so that's the season overview. I'm just going to briefly touch on reports, and then we'll look at the second season here. So if you click in here, you can see the same, the awards, the standings. What I really wanted to go into, well, there's a couple things. Let's just bring up encyclopedia reports real quick. So you can look at the franchise standings. Oh, I didn't associate the encyclopedia. All right, we're not going to do this right now. Disregard. Anyway, once you do the encyclopedia, you can look up the career numbers for the year by year, the iterations that I run for each league. So, but that's not there right now. So let's see. Special events are in here. Might take a moment to generate all these because it looks up, goes through all the box scores, and it's looking for specific things like 3+ home runs in a game, no hitters, triple plays, certain number of RBIs in a game. Here we go. Innings, game lasted 16 innings, game lasted 17 innings so far. I'm not going to go through that. Team runs, Mariners had 21 runs, Red Sox had 20. It looks like 20 runs is the minimum for that special event. Team hits, not really interested in team stuff at the moment. Team errors, Left on base. Keep going here. Double plays. Not that interesting. Triple plays. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 triple plays in the entire season. And you can click into each individual one here and you can look at the box score and see what happened. I'm going to skip that for now. Home runs. So Clark, 87 of the Giants, hits 3 home runs. Coles on the Mariners, 3 homers. Guerrero, Galarraga, Brett, Parrish, 3-homer game. Just curious to see if there's a 4-homer game, but so far I don't see one. Maldonado, Cal Daniels, Guerrero again. O'Brien, and again, that's Pedro Guerrero on the Indians. So if you're wondering, like, oh, how did the Indians do that good? Well, who did they, they traded away Pedro Guerrero, but in the Hardball Retro Original League, Guerrero is a member of the Indians. Pete O'Brien, Mark McGuire, Coles again, Bob Guerin, that's interesting. Bell for the Phillies, that's George Bell. George Foster, Giants. Strawberry, Mets. McGriff, Yankees. So the Yankees in the Hardball Retro, 80s and early 90s, you're going to have McGriff and Mattingly at first base. And in fact, I think the 90 through 94 also, you've got Hal Morris contending for some playing time there. So hits in a game, Deion James gets 6 hits. Clark of the Giants, 6 hits. Wondering if that's Jack or Will Clark. Oh, it's Clark 89, and what was the other Clark? Was it Clark 87? All right, so Clark 87 is Jack Clark, and Clark 89 is Will Clark. And if I clicked in there, it would have told me that too. But Jerry Brown of the Rangers with 6 hits in a game. I've got RBIs here. I'm not going to look at that. Runs scored. Not interested. Steals. Steals 3 bases in a game. All right, bunch of those. Errors. Not interested. Okay, who hit for the cycle? Tony Fernandez. Tony Pena of the Pirates. Kelly Gruber, Indians. And Rich Gedman, Red Sox, hit for the cycle. Inside the Park homers. We got 6 of those. Ks, 13. Mike Witt, 13 Ks in one game. Jack Morris, 12. Nolan Ryan, 14, and so on. Unless I see something that's, 18, 19, 20, something up there, I would click into it. Otherwise, we're just going to scroll through these. There's a 16 by Doc Gooden. 17 by Mike Scott. A lot of stuff happened in that 22-0 game. Okay, no hitters. Here we go. Let's click into these. This was Jack Morris no-hitter, and this one was a Trevor Wilson no-hitter. So let's just take a quick look at the box here. No for Jack Morris, 87. No hits, no runs, 11 strikeouts, and 2 walks in 9 innings. Player of the game honors. Newspaper box. Oh, there you go. Oakland A's. 85-89 A's. Pretty decent lineup there. Nothing wrong with that. There's the Tigers lineup. Mike Laga getting a game at DH there. All right, there's a fill-in guy, George Vukovic. And nothing wrong with Mike Morgan's line, really, but Jack Morris, there's his 9-inning no-no with 11 Ks. All right, so let's get out of that and go to Trevor Wilson. All right, what do we got here? So we got let's look at the game summary. Battle at Veterans Stadium. San Francisco defeated Philly 6-zip. Trevor Wilson's electric stuff, pinpoint command, results in an amazing no-hit performance. A night to remember on the mound. San Fran starter allowed no hits, no runs, only 3 strikeouts, and 2 walks in 9 innings. 97 pitches, 28 batters faced. San Francisco improves to 76 and 52. There's the box. We had a Giants home run from Matt Williams and Bob Brenly. There you go, the back-to-back Clarks in the batting order. Johnny LeMaster, 131. I'm sure he appreciates me pointing that out. And for the Phillies, all right. Guess Mike Schmidt was getting a breather that game, and he came in and pinch hit in the 8th and played first in the 9th. There's Wilson's line. And there you go. So I think there's a few more things here, special event wise. Complete games. That's a lot of complete games. We're going to scroll through that. And that's a lot of complete games. All right. So at any rate, we're back to the top here. So that's the first of the 85-89 season. So what I do here, I want to I want to restore the backup of the second season here. Restore backup. I browse to it. Here's my 85-01 through 85-10. So just dip into 02. Gonna overwrite the files. Okay. Here we go. And then I select 85-89 Hardball Retro Originals. And that brings us to the second season. I'm going to go right into the overview. Okay, wow. The Red Sox crushed the competition this year with 114 wins, so they get a point here. Just by looking at the other, nothing wrong with the other divisional winners, but 114, they just ran away with the East here. 283 run diff, 29.5 game lead over the Tigers, 35 over the Jays, and the rest were way out of it here. Okay, in the West, the Royals over the A's, 11-game cushion there. And you can see here the Angels fell from second to sixth. They were not a contender that year. We've got the Mets, 94. So again, Mets taking the Eastern Division title. 3.5 games over the Cardinals. And the Reds, 95 wins, 11 game cushion over the Dodgers, so they were pretty comfortably in front there. Forgot to mention the Royals had a nice run differential there, as did the Mets. All right, so yeah, definitely a few different players in the leaderboard here. So let's just go through this. Paul Molitor with the batting crown, barely over Willie McGee, 85. Molitor, 87. That was his best year in that time frame. Mike Greenwell, 88. I would expect to see up here from time to time. Definitely Kevin Seitzer as well. He had definitely a great rookie year there in 87. Home runs, Jesse Barfield, I would definitely expect him in the top 5. Jose Canseco. There's Hojo again, McGuire again, and Wally Joyner with 40 bombs coming in 5th. RBI leaders, we've got Hojo with 144 over Canseco 142, Barfield, Joyner, and Rice. And then in the NL, we've got Keith Hernandez taking the batting crown with a 325 average, beating out Will Clark, Wally Backman of the Mets, Milt Thompson of the Braves, Dave Parker of the Pirates. Home run leaders, George Bell with a comfortable lead, 51 jacks over Jack Clark. Mike Marshall with 40. Mitchell drops down to 39 in this particular replay. And Dale Murphy, 38. We've got Bell, Mitchell, Bobby Bonilla makes an appearance on the leaderboard, as does Andy Van Slyke, but he's a member of the Cardinals here. Nick Esaski with the Reds, 113 RBIs. George Bell, I believe, was a Rule 5 draft pick, so he was originally with the Phillies. So it's one of the things that I enjoy looking at and find fascinating. You know, when I was putting these teams together, like, wait, he was on what team? You know, sometimes you don't realize how people got to the organization that you're really familiar with them playing for. ERA, here we go. So these folks are a little more familiar here. I don't see it, any of those fill-in guys this particular run. Brett Saberhagen, 89. I mean, probably 85, 87, or 89. Any of those seasons were excellent, but his 89, he had his top win shares mark in that campaign. So 2.21 ERA, barely eking out John Tudor's 2.22. Tudor, again, 85 in real life, pitched for the Cardinals. Here he's pitching for the Red Sox, so they've got a nice 1-2 punch with Clemens and Tudor. So that definitely helps them, you know, the 114 wins, you know, along with a pretty stacked offense. You can see that the Red Sox are going to be one of the top teams here. David Cohn with the Royals, Jimmy Key on the Jays, and Eric Plunk of the Yankees makes an appearance with 19 victories. Don Ossie, 38 saves, takes the leads the save category over Dale Mahorsic, Brian Harvey, Dan Quisenberry, Mike Henneman. NL pitching leaders, Doc Gooden, there he is, 1.93. Rick Russell of the Cubs, 2.26. We've got Mike Scott, 2.32. Dave Dravecki, 261. And Greg Maddux, 88 edition, 2.73. Doc Gooden, 23 victories. Don Robinson, the caveman, with 19. Eric King, Mike Scott, Bob Welch, 16 victories apiece. And in saves, you got Jeff Reardon, Jeff Russell on the Reds, Bob James Expos, Gene Garber Pirates, Mark Davis Phillies. MVP goes to Howard Johnson by two votes over Ricky Henderson. NL MVP, George Bell over Kevin Mitchell. Cy Young, we've got the two Red Sox, Tudor and Clemens, followed by Saberhagen, Witt, and Ojeda. Ojeda also of the Sox. So actually, those three guys. I mean, that's just not fair, right? NL Cy Young, Gooden, Don Robinson, Mike Scott, Jose De Leon, Bob Welch, and we don't really care about the who's hot and the hitting streaks. So we are gonna take a quick look, see if there's any no hitters or home runs, that type of thing. So reports, special events. Let's see here. What do we got? Again, this takes a little longer than loading some of the reports because it is running through all of those box scores. So understandably, takes a few seconds to crunch through all that data. And by a few seconds, I mean, maybe closer to 30 seconds to a minute. I guess it depends. And probably also, yeah, I've got a lot of stuff running on my machine here, which probably doesn't help things out. So special events, we're looking at, let's see, we don't care about innings, runs, team hits. I'm going to go down through here. Team errors, left on base, don't care. It's not that I don't care, but I don't really care. Double plays, triple plays. We've got 7 turned this particular year. Home runs, anybody with 4? I don't see anybody with 4. I see a number of guys with 3. And some different folks on the list here. Some interesting. Dave Valley on there. Jack Howell for the Angels. Nick Asaski. All right, what do we got here? Hits, RBIs, keep going a bit. Steals, errors, cycles, 6 cycles, couple by Greenwell. In the park homers, we've got 5 of them this year. We've got K's, we've got 12, 13, 14. Let's see, no hitters, only one no hitter, and that was Clemens. Let's take a look here. That's my dog in the background. I got to take care of her in a minute. Let's just look here. Clemens, no hits, 8 Ks, 1 walk, 94 pitches. Quick look at the box, and then I'm gonna we'll move on to season 3 after this. Only 3 hits for the Sox in this game. So Burks homered. It was a 1-0 3-hitter. But the no-hitter for Clemens, 9 innings, 8 Ks. Nothing doing for the Tigers here. And Jack Morris only allowed 3 hits, 5 walks, gave up that one homer, and that was the difference in the ball game. So, all right, we're going to move on to season 3 here. 1 second. Okay, so we're going to pull up the backup from season 3. 8503, open, double click on that guy, overwrite existing files. Obviously, you never want to overwrite existing files until you're sure that you have a valid backup. We're going to load that library. And let's pull up the season overview. So this is the third iteration of the 1985-89 originals. Let's see who came out on top here. And just so you know, I haven't committed these to memory, so some of these will be a surprise to me as well. I kind of just ran the sims and saved off the statistics and then ran the next iteration. I didn't go too deep into the leaderboards and the standings and all that, other than just to mark down who had the most wins in the season. So, all right. Well, looks like Boston is kind of emerging as the team to beat here with 107 wins. They get another point in my point total system. They won the American League East pretty handily over the Brewers. The Orioles had a good year as well, but not good enough. Red Sox again blowing out their opponents, 263 run diff. That looks to be the top in the simulation here. In the West, again, we've got the Royals, 84 victories over the Twins. Everybody else below 500. 106 loss season for the White Sox. Let's scroll down a bit here. NL East, Mets again on top, 103. Just not quite enough to beat out the Red Sox for the overall wins in the majors this particular sim season. But they did beat the Expos in their division by 10.5 games. Pittsburgh also over 500 with 86 victories, but finished 17 games back. And in the National League West, we've got the Giants and the Reds in a virtual tie. Giants with 117 run diff, Mets with 185, forgot to mention that. Dodgers just 2 games back. And everybody else sub 500 here. Astros 108 losses. Pretty miserable. All right, let's take a look at the leaderboard. Got the, let's see, Kirby Puckett with his 1988 season. This particular sim season, he batted .362 to take the batting title in the American League. We've got Robin Yount second with a .353, Mike Greenwell .346, Paul Molitor, Wade Boggs. Nobody out of the ordinary there. Gary Gaetti, 44 dingers, leading the American League. There's Corey Snyder again, 41. Kent Herbeck makes an appearance with 40. George Brett with 39. And Jesse Barfield, 38. RBIs, Robin Yount with 134, just one ahead of Dave Henderson. Kirby Puckett, 131. Gaetti, 130. Ruben Sierra of the Rangers with 127. Over in the National League, we've got Greg Brock with a .326 average. Brock never really panned out the way Dodger fans expected, but here he takes the batting title by a single point over Tony Gwynn Sr. Got Will Clark, Brett Butler of the Braves, Mark Grace of the Cubs with a .319. Rounding out the top 5, then in the there we go, 63 home runs, Kevin Mitchell for the Mets. Jack Clark, 41. Dale Murphy, Darryl Strawberry also tied with 41, but clearly Mitchell soared above the others here. Glenn Davis with 39. And Mitchell also taking the RBI crown with 148 over Andres Galarraga, Jack Clark, Joe Carter of the Cubs, and Andy Van Slyke. Pitching, American League pitching. Rocket Roger Clemens, 195 ERA. takes the ERA title, also takes the win title with 22. ERA, Kirk McCaskill, 211. Nice to see one of my Angels up on the board. Actually got two Angels here. Willie Frazier, 259. Brett Saberhagen, 250. Bob Ojeda, 259. And then with wins, we've got Clemens over Tudor, Higuera, Saberhagen, and Chuck Krim with 16. And I'm guessing the majority of those came in relief, so that's an interesting mark there. Save leader is Greg the Otter Olson with 45. Dale Mahorsic again making another appearance here for the Jays with 36 saves. Andy McGaffigan for the Yanks. Doug Jones and Ernie Macho Camacho with 33 for the A's. NL, Mike Scott, 206, expected to be up there. Shane Rawley, 210, probably not expected. Also Expos. Doc Gooden, 226. Scott Gereltz, he did have a couple good seasons, one or two good years in relief, a couple as a starter. He comes in with a 239 ERA. Oral Hershiser makes his first appearance on the leaderboards, I believe, with a 2.64 ERA, so top 5. And he finished tied for the league lead with 20 victories, along with Scott Gereltz. Mike Scott, also 20. And we got Mario Soto of the Reds with 19, and Doc Gooden with 17. Save leaderboard, Bob James takes it with 41. Over Jeff Russell, Jeff Reardon, John Franco, Donnie Moore, and MVP Paul Molitor over his teammate Robin Yount by 6 votes. Ricky Henderson, George Brett, Ruben Sierra all right in the mix there, rounding out the top 5 in the AL. NL MVP vote getters, Kevin Mitchell, Darryl Strawberry, Galarraga, Eric Davis, Joe Carter, but Mitchell obviously those 63 homers, 148 RBIs takes the MVP vote there. AL Cy Young, Roger Clemens over his teammate John Tudor, Brett Saberhagen, and then a couple of teammates here, Teddy Higuera, Chuck Grimm. NL Cy, we've got Mike Scott barely edging Hershiser and Gereltz, Soto, and Doc Gooden. All right, so that's our season overview. And we'll take a quick look, see if there were any interesting special event type games here. No hitters, cycles, 4-homer games, that type of thing. Let's see what we got. And again, this takes probably 30 seconds to a minute to comb through all of the box scores. So give this a moment. So yeah, definitely that Red Sox team. Obviously the actual Red Sox were made it to the World Series in '86. They were competitive in '88. And those other years, I think they were fairly competitive as well. But if you just look at their lineup alone, just off the top of my head, Jim Rice, Ellis Burks, Mike Greenwell, Dwight Evans, Wade Boggs, Rich Gedman. I'm sure I'm forgetting some folks, but pretty stacked offense. And then you throw in, Clemens, 86, John Tudor, 85, Bob Ojeda, 86. Just those 3 guys alone are going to give you a competitive team year in and year out in this particular scenario that I've constructed here. So, all right, special events. And I would expect the Mets, the A's. There's a few other teams that I definitely see, bubbling up to the top here. The Royals, um, the Giants, the Dodgers. I'm sure I'm forgetting a few, but let's see. Let's scroll down here a bit. Double plays, triple plays. One, two, three, four. Looks like 8 triple plays again. Looks like 6 to 8 triple plays in a season. Seems to be the norm. Number of 3 homer games. Oh, here's a 4 homer game. We'll click into that. Puckett. Floyd Rayford 3 homer game. I would say the rest of these folks are not totally unexpected, but Puckett 4 homers. Let's just take a look at that box real quick. Puckett 5 for 5, 4 homers, 9 RBIs. That is a sweet looking box score right there. Jesse Orosco in right field. That is, I guess they were running short on outfielders there. That's cool. And I think he did play a game or two in the outfield when Davey Johnson would shuttle him and Roger McDowell between the mound and the outfield. I know they did that 1 or 2 games, so that is funny. All right. And looks like yeah, he got the best of Atlee Hammaker here. So let's look at the play-by-play. Let's look at the scorecard. So Puckett in the first, homer in the third, homer in the fifth, singled in the sixth, sac fly in the seventh, and hit home run number 4 in the eighth. So, all right. 5 for 5, 4 homers, 9 RBIs. I'm sure the Twins fans were loving that one. Hits in a game, 6 hits. Sandberg twice, 6 hits. Bobby Bowe, Griffey Jr., 6 hits. Griffey Jr. making an appearance. Obviously, 1989, his rookie year, not his best numbers, but good enough to get him onto the Mariners roster, obviously, and he's going to put up some numbers here and there. But I would fully expect, in the 90 through 94 replay and the 95 through 99 to see him in the top 5 of the leaderboard. Here, I wouldn't expect him to see it because that 89 season he just didn't put up big numbers. But let's see. Cycles, we've got 5 cycles. Hasse, McLemore, Barrett, Doran, Parrish. In the park homers, we've got 8 of them. Alrighty. Ks. Let's see if we have any high numbers here. 12s, a lot of 12s and 13s. 13, 13, 15 for Mike Scott, looks like the high. 14. Oh, we got 17 from Jim Gott. Well, that's unexpected. Game lasted 19 innings. Wow. No hitters. We've got 3 of them. So let's plow through here. Young 86 for Oakland. Tudor 85. Swindell 88. Let's see what we got. Young 86. Is that Kurt Young? I'm gonna guess Kurt Young. Shuts down the A's. Game summary. Kurt Young's electric stuff. No hits, 2 walks, 9 innings. And Denny Walling did the damage there. Young, Kurt Young, and that improved his record to 7-1. So he's having a heck of a season there. O's lineup kind of cobbled together, if I'm being honest here. Cabell and Wright, Jones, Ripken, Murray, Sheets. I mean, not awful, but eh, you know, if you got like Worthington, Steve Lake, John Shelby, um, yeah, definitely not a stacked lineup by any means. All right, let's look at this one. John Tudor, no hits the Jays. And this, I would say, other than the top three in the lineup, is not a good batting order at all. Fernandez, Mosby, Barfield, excellent. And you see with the plus signs, we've got some fill-ins here. Mickey Hatcher, Jose Gonzalez, I believe, Andre Robertson, Pat Borders, Fred Manrique, Jeff King. I mean, not awful, but not, you're not going to compete with John Tudor, 85 here with that lineup. Just not. All right, and we've got Greg Swindell. Let's take a look. Give him his couple minutes of fame here. And he no hits the White Sox. Let's see what it says here. Summary. Couple of walks. Not a great batting order either. Got Downing, Baines, Hewlett, Venturas. I'm thinking that was his rookie year. Jerry Hairston Sr., Matt Marullo, Cecil Espy. Sorry, guys, it's not. I mean, Downing and Baines, a couple other guys are decent here, but not great. Not a great lineup for the Indians either, other than Guerrero, Snyder, Gruber, I would say. Von Hayes okay there. Let's see here. We've got, Swindell. 9 innings, 6 Ks. Okay, well, there you have it. So that's season 3. Let's bring up season 4. '85-04. Bam. Okay, go to season overview. So the idea here is I run 10 seasons. We go through, a team with the most wins in a given year gets a point, and so on. Whatever team has 4 or more points at the end of that is declared the winner. Now, what I'm planning to run playoffs just for fun. Whatever team with the most points is going to be declared the winner. So the playoffs aren't going to. It's more for exhibition purposes, right? Just to have fun playing the top couple teams and seeing who would win like a 7-game series. I am going to do the playoffs. The playoffs are going to be structured to basically mirror whatever time frame I'm playing in. So let's say like pre-divisional play, it will just be the top American versus the top National League team. And then, divisional play, it'll be the top 2 division winners in a championship series, and then the World Series. And I'll probably I won't do videos of the championship series. I'll just announce quickly run through the box scores or something on those. and then as we get into the the wild card era and stuff, it'll expand a bit. But again, I'll probably just post the videos of the World Series and do a quick recap of the playoffs up until that point. So we are on season 8504. And we're looking at the top win total, which is the Red Sox again. So that's, I believe they have 3 of the top 4 win totals already. There's that run differential again, just blowing out their opponents. We've got the Brewers just barely over 500, the Tigers at 500. You will notice I used the actual schedule from one of the years in that 5-year period. So this must have been the season where it looks like Toronto and Cleveland played 163 games. It doesn't seem to be having an effect here, but it is what it is. I'm playing out an actual schedule. So there are, some teams might play 161, some might play 162 or 163, and then back pre-expansion, it'll be 154 game schedules and so forth. I don't do rainouts or makeup games or anything, so just it is what it is. So the Red Sox only play 161. That's okay. So let's see. The Royals in the West, 94, 5 games over the Rangers. Oakland, Minnesota over 500. Plus 91 run diff, so not a great offense, but excellent pitching staff. Looks to be keeping the Royals alive here, and strong contenders in the West. But Mets with a 1-game margin over the Pirates in the NL East. Good run differentials for both teams, fairly evenly matched in this particular sim season. Phillies, Expos, Cardinals all over 500, which to me would mean that there are some teams in the West that got pummeled. And that appears to be the case. So the Padres take it this year with only a 31 run diff. And despite losing their last 3 games, they still claim the title here. 3-game lead over the Reds, and everybody else below 500. So let's see how the leaderboard shakes out. All right, so here we have 1985 NL MVP Willie McGee taking the AL batting crown for the Yankees. That's obviously one of their worst deals ever, was the McGee for Bob Sykes trade. And if you said, who's Bob Sykes, you would probably be right. Unfortunately for Bob. But yeah, I'm still, that's a head scratcher why they gave him up. At any rate, Kirby Puckett, a distant second with a 335 batting average. Rich Gedman, 334. Ruben Sierra, 333. That's probably a bit high for him, but Alan Trammell, 325, rounds out the top 5 there. Jose Canseco, 62 bombs, using his 88 season as a baseline, which was his 40-40 season, if memory serves. Carlton Fisk, 85, 47 jacks. And speaking of jacks, here's Bo Jackson, 89 version of Bo Jackson with 44 bombs for the Royals. Jesse Barfield, I think, matches his actual output here with 40. And Floyd Rayford with 40, getting a taste of full playing time for the Angels here. Going yard 40 times. So that's fun to see, though. I like seeing guys like that pop in here on occasion. You like to see the realism, but you also like to see a little bit of variation. So there you go. I believe in that year, his '85 season, I'm gonna say that he had 18. Uh, so if you double his playing time, you get 36. 40, not out of the realm of possibility. Him catching all of those games, probably not good for the defense, but hmm, he played a little bit of third. They kind of plugged him in a few different places. So we get a Floyd Rayford shout out here. Jose Canseco, 62 homers, 153 RBIs. I'm guessing he's the MVP, but we will see that in a moment. Jesse Barfield, 134 babies. Jim Rice, Dave Henderson, Ruben Sierra. Over in the National League offense, we've got Big Dave Winfield with a 343 average. For the Padres, we've got Rafael Palmeiro for the Cubs, 335. Parker. Tim Raines makes an appearance, 329. Mike Easler for the Astros at 326. Home run leader, George Bell. RBI leader, George Bell. 50 and 133. Other home runs, top 5 home run leaders, we've got Eric Davis, Danny Tartable, Dave Winfield, Kevin McReynolds for the Padres. So, Padres pretty stacked order there. You got Gwynn, Winfield, McReynolds at least. I'd have to think about who else they have, but then with ribbies, besides Bell, Bell only won over Andy Van Slyke here. Got Dave Winfield, Danny Tartable, Eric Davis. Pitching, Todd Burns for the A's, 235. He might have had a handful of starts for them, I'm guessing. Lamar Hoyt, the 83 AL Cy Young winner, here pitching for the Yankees with a 2.7 ERA. Jose Rijo and Bob Ojeda, Roger Clemens, and we've got 3 tied with 19 wins, including I believe that's his first appearance on the board, Bruce Hurst. So not only, I know I mentioned Clemens, Tudor, Ojeda, we also have Bruce Hurst. So that is a pretty stout pitching rotation. I've got Chris Bosio here for the Brewers. So what else? Jack Morris. And then saves, I would expect Dan Quisenberry for those Royals. Don Ossie, Rich Gossage pops up here with 37 for the White Sox. Dave Righetti for the Rangers with 37. Dennis Eckersley, 36 saves for the Indians. So, and again, this is based on his 88 season, pitching in relief with Oakland. So if we go back in time, the 80-84 originals and then the 75 through 79, he is going to be in the rotation based on whatever season I'm sure it's probably the 78 season, and I don't know what season in the 80-84 off the top of my head, but this is I do assign the lineups versus righties and lefties. I assign the pitching rotation and the bullpen usage. Who's slotted in as the closer, the setup man, the top middle reliever, the top long reliever. But that doesn't mean that the computer manager can override that as needed, based on fatigue and various factors. So Uh, all right, looking at the NL, we've got Mike Scott, Bob Walk for the Phillies, Eric Show, Orel Hershiser again, Doc Gooden. So this would be a bit of a surprise. Eric Show with 23 victories for the Padres. And again, the Padres did lead the NL West here this year, so that that was part of it, definitely. Part of the reasoning that they topped the West in this particular replay. Mike Scott with 20, Hershiser, Nepper for the Giants, Steve Farr for the Pirates with 16 wins. Interesting. And over in the save category, we've got Bob James, Jeff Reardon, Donnie Moore, Dave S. Smith for the Astros, Jeff Russell. And we'll look at the MVP and Cy Young here. Canseco ran away with it here. Molitor, Sierra, Ricky Henderson, Jesse Barfield. NL MVP Eric Davis, Edges, Winfield, George Bell, Andy Van Slyke, Tim Raines. And Cy Young, Bruce Hurst takes it over Saberhagen, Clemens, Basio, Ojeda. NL Cy Young, Eric Show, those 23 wins and the 2.2 something ERA. Clear Cy Young winner over Mike Scott, Bob Nepper, Tom Seaver of the Mets, and Steve Farr. So that is the season overview for the 8504 replay. I'm going to take a look at our special events here, see if we had any interesting games to take a peek at. Let that chunk through all the data here. So hopefully you're enjoying this review and recap of the 85-89 Hardball Retro Originals. The associated article will have additional info, which will include the encyclopedia reports, the season by season standings and leaders and so forth. Special events. Let's scroll down a bit. Team errors, left on base. No, not interested. Double plays, triple plays. Just how many? 10 triple plays that year. Home runs, 3. 4 homers by Canseco. 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Anybody interesting here? Billy Hatcher. Okay. Floyd Rayford. Jim Presley makes an appearance. The Hound Dog. Let's look at Canseco's 4-homer game, I guess, against the Angels. Jordy with a complete game win. Canseco 5 for 5 with a triple, 4 homers, and 6 RBIs. Nothing wrong with that box score. And that was against who? Rich Dotson and Ken Schrom. Dotson with the 9.6 ERA. That is not helping the Angels at all. But that was pretty early in the year. And scorecard. So Canseco, homer in the second, homer in the fourth, triple in the fifth, homer in the seventh, homer in the eighth. Pretty good game for him, I would say. 6-hit ball game for Gerald Perry and Willie McGee, 6 hits. All right, RBIs, runs scored, steals, not looking at, errors, 3 cycles, John Shelby, Orge. I'm going to say Garth Orge there. Ruben Sierra. 1, 2, 3. That looks like 8 inside the Parkers. K's. Bunch of 13s, 12s. I see a 14 from Ryan. Anything higher? 12, 12, 12, 13, 13, 12, 14. Nah, not going to click into any of them. 4 no-hitters. Let's breeze through these here. Ojeda. Kurt Young again. Saberhagen. Bob Welch. Let's see. Ojeda versus the A's. I'll go back to game summary. No hits, no runs, 11 strikeouts, and 1 walk. So just missed out on a perfect game. Greenwell homered for the Sox. It was only a 2-0 game. And the A's, Diego Epard, Henderson. So it looks like a couple players were injured for the A's, right? I don't see a Canseco here. I see the lineup modified a bit because Henderson would normally be their leadoff hitter. So not their top lineup, but hey, it still counts. Still a no-hitter. Alrighty, Kurt Young. Kurt Young with another no-no. Again, only a 2-0 game. Tigers, nothing doing for them. Got to fill in here. Reggie Williams. But the rest of their lineup looks pretty much like a Tiger lineup there. Trammell, Gibson, Parrish, Hojo, Jason Thompson, Glenn Wilson, Lou Whitaker, Tom Brookins. Nothing wrong there. And, Young, one walk allowed. No hitter for Kurt Young. Might be wrong, but I think he's still a pitching coach in the majors. Okay, Royals blew out the Red Sox here, 10-0. 5 RBI game for Al Cowens. And Saberhagen, pretty dominant. Oh, is that a perfecto? No hits, no walks. Let's see if it was 27 up, 27 down here. We'll go check the scorecard in a minute here. I mean, look at that lineup. Boggs, Greenwell, Cooper, Gedman, Rice, Burks, Fisk, Jody Reed, Marty Barrett. Strikeout, pop-up, fly-out. Yeah. It does not look like anybody got on base here at all. I'm going to go with that was a perfecto by Saberhagen. The looks of things. Excellent game. And let's look at Bob Welch's no-hitter. Then we'll move on to Season 5. After we get through this, let's go to the game summary. 3 walks, 3 Ks versus the Mets. 2-0. Bill Buckner homer for the Dodgers. Mets lineup. Dykstra, Kendo, Mookie, Wilson, Strawberry, Milligan, Davis, Maggot, and Backman, Young. So they were missing Kevin Mitchell off the top of my head. Maybe one other guy. I'm not sure. Not the worst lineup, but not their best. Decent game by Aguilera, wasted, and Welch with the no-no. So cool. All right, let's move on to season number 5. Okay, so we're going to restore season number 5. I mean, Boston looks like they want to run away with this one, but let's see if the Mets can give them a run for their money, or if somebody else can come up with a victory here. So let's see, season overview. Okay, we've got 2 teams with 101 wins. So, as I stated earlier, I'm not looking at win percentage here. I'm just looking at total victories. So, Boston and Oakland each get a half point in my scoring system. So Boston is at 3.5 now. Oakland gets a half point. AL East, Boston still consistently that high run differential, that amazing pitching staff, and that pretty stacked lineup. I mean, it's going to be tough to anybody to really um, even contend with them in the East at this point, at least from what I've seen in the first 5 seasons here. So, hey, nothing wrong with how the Brewers finished here. Tigers above 500, Yankees right at 500. The Jays well behind here. Over in the West, the A's outdistanced the Rangers by 12 games. The Royals above 500, but 16 back. The A's with a nice run differential. And let's look at the NL East. Mets at 98 victories, 4 games ahead of, 3.5 ahead of the Cardinals. The Phillies with 89. Everybody else below 500 there. And then we've got the Reds over the Dodgers and Padres by a 10-game margin. So nice season for Cincinnati. Take a look at our leaderboard here. Got Donnie Baseball with a 346 average over Kirby Puckett. Dave Henderson 331, interesting. Dan Pask with 325. I would not expect him here either. And Wade Boggs 322. Jesse Barfield, home runs 46, tied with McGuire. Dwight Dewey Evans with 43. Corey Snyder 43. There's a Mike Young appearance again. Mike D. Young for the Orioles with 40. Then we've got Dwight Evans with the clear RBI leader with 146. There's an Eddie Murray appearance, 128 ribbies. Jose Canseco, Kirby Puckett, Corey Snyder. Over in the National League, we've got Lenny Dykstra, 358 batting average, takes the batting crown over Mel Hall with the Cubs. That's a bit of a surprise at 345. Jose Oquendo at 334, a bit of a shocker as well. I mean, I know he had a decent season in '89, but 334 is probably a bit above his pay grade. Ozzie Smith 330, Andres Galarraga 325. NL batting leaders, home runs. Kevin Mitchell 44, one better than Jack Clark. Andres Galarraga, the big cat, with 42. George Bell 41. And Darryl Strawberry 35. And what do we got? RBIs, Galarraga over Mitchell by 3. And you got George Bell, Johnny Grubb with the Padres, Grubhub with 121 RBIs, getting some full-time play out of his He was kind of a platoon DH for the Tigers in '86, but he had some nice numbers. But if you extrapolate that over a full season, I guess 121 ribbies, with Gwynn, Winfield, and McReynolds hitting in front of you. Probably not out of the realm of possibility, right? Jack Clark with 117 for the Giants. Pitching leaders, you've got Danny Jackson for the Royals coming in at 264 for the ERA crown. Over Bobby Ojeda, Bob Tewksbury, John Smoltz, and Dave J. Schmidt with a 3.0. Wins, John Tudor over Eric Plunk, Bert Blyleven, Dan Petrie, Roger Clemens. So that's Petrie and Blyleven's first appearance on the leaderboard, if I remember correctly. Saves, Rigetti, Edges, Don Ossie, Andy McGaffigan. Here's a Mike Schooler appearance of 36. Dale Mahorsic, 35. In the NL, we've got Mike Scott with a 1.96 over Jose De Leon, Hershiser, Charlie Leibrandt for the Reds, Pascal Perez for the Pirates. Win leader, Doc Gooden, Leibrandt, Shao, all with 19 over Mike Scott and Jerry Royce of the Cardinals. Saves, you got Dwayne Bice and Jeff Russell and Todd Worrell, all with 38. Donnie Moore with 36. And Mitch Williams for the Padres, 32. So let's look at the MVP races in both leagues. Paul Molitor takes it with 424 votes over Dwight Evans, Ricky Henderson, McGuire, and Canseco. NL Galarraga notches the MVP with 402 votes over Kevin Mitchell, George A. Bell, Lonnie Smith, and Eric Davis. John Tudor grabs the AL Cy Young over Bert Blyleven, Dan Petrie, Eric Plunk, and Bruce Hurst. And the NL Cy Young goes to Charlie Leibrandt by 5 votes over Mike Scott, with Doc Gooden, Eric Shao, and Jerry Royce also in the running. Now we'll take a look at our special events here. Reports. Bam. Let's crank that open. So yeah, a little bit of randomness and variety makes things interesting here. Nothing wrong with seeing a Charlie Leibrandt. He had definitely some decent years in the mid to late '80s, right? Some of the other folks up on those lists. I'm kind of surprised that was the first time I recall seeing Murray, right? Eddie Murray pop up on these leaderboards. Not to say that he wasn't in the top 10, maybe, but since we're just looking at top 5, there's some guys that are floating in and out of the list now and again, right? I would have expected some more, maybe some more Tim Raines, at least in the batting leaders. And then we see guys like Mel Hall and Dan Pasqua in there. So I don't know. I enjoy seeing that. I don't want to see the same 5-10 guys every single time. That's not enough randomness or variety for me. So your mileage may vary. Let's scroll down here a bit. On base. Double plays. Triple plays. Oh, a good number of triple plays this year. Wow. Here we go. Oh, there's Eddie Murray. 3 homers. Larry Sheets. Nick Asaski, Strawberry, Say, Parker, Horner, Bob Horner making an appearance here. Okay. Barfield, Sandberg, McGuire, Calderon, Dunston, Davis. These were all 3-homer games. Yes, they were. We're not going to look at any of those boxes. Dave Gallagher of the Indians, 6 hits in a ball game. Okay, I'll scroll past the RBIs and runs scored, steals, errors, 4 cycles. Carlton Fisk, Billy Doran, Wally Joyner, Mickey Tettleton. In the park homers, there were a number of them. Looks like more than 10. Okay. Ks. Ks, were there any decent K numbers here? 14s, 13s, 12s. There's a 15 by Aguilera. Looks like the top one for that year. And we'll look at the no-hitters here. Looks like Pascal Perez and Mark Langston. Let's see. Let's dive on in. See what we got here. Untouchable Pascal Perez and No Night. Save your ticket stub. 1 walk, 5 Ks. Facing Pirates versus Padres. So not again. Ozzie Smith, Gwynn, Kruk, Winfield, Grubb, McReynolds, Alomar, Santiago, Bavacqua. Pretty good lineup there. Nothing wrong with that. But they did not get a hit against Pascal Perez that night. Dave Parker homered for the Pirates. And there's Perez's line. So, interesting. Mark Langston. I guess Pascal found his way to the ballpark that night. Langston, 9 innings, 9 strikeouts, 1 walk. And let's look at this one. So the Mariners got 4 runs. Ivan Calderon homer. And the Brew Crew, who do they have in their lineup? Molitor, David Green, Yount, Surhoff, Kevin Bass, Dale Swaim, Bill Spires, Gorman Thomas, Jim Gantner. I mean, pretty solid lineup there too, I would say. Langston just overpowered them, looks like. So, cool. All right, that concludes Season 5's review. And let's go to Season 6. By the way, when you make these backups, they do not name them like this, so you need to go in and rename them. It's in the backups folder for Digital Diamond, so I just rename them so it's something that I recognize, and especially that it correlates with that particular season. Otherwise, it would just, I think it defaults to just the kind of the date and time of the backup, so. All right, we should have, go into season overview, it should say 8506 here. $85.06, yes I do. Win totals, looks like a Mets 100 victories takes this particular season, so the Mets get a point. Red Sox won their division, they just didn't blow everybody away this year, and you can tell also by their run differential was down under 200 for the first time in a while. The Brew Crew gave them a bit of a fight, 8 games back. Everybody else below 500 here. A's and Royals tied 96 victories. A's with the better run diff. 9-1 in their last 10 to tie it. Uh, the Royals had it, and they gave it up right at the end. And what else do we got? Rangers and the Mariners with 500 above 500 campaigns. Okay, then let's scroll down to the NL here. I did want to mention you can see some of these teams are fairly consistently on top, and in the same vein, the White Sox. I'm not sure about the Indians. I think the Jays are primarily, are going to finish 6th or 7th here, and it's just because, well, in the case of the Jays, I'm actually kind of surprised by the Mariners, but being an expansion team and just not having enough time to develop, sign and develop players, um, they're going to lag behind. And then some of these teams, it's just a combination of poor drafting and signing and so forth that they're maybe uh, either really inadequate at a couple positions or a poor pitching staff overall are going to subject some of these teams to the basement throughout. The Astros, if we were to click in and really do a deep dive on the Astros, you would see why they're consistently bad in this simulation. So at least in this particular time frame. So without further ado, let's look at the AL batting leaders for season 6. Kirby Puckett again bubbles to the top with a 360, just edging Wade Boggs with 358. We've got Carney Lansford of the Angels up there with a 343. Pedro Guerrero, Willie McGee, expected to be amongst the leaders, I would say. Homer and RBI leaders, Canseco, 50 round trippers here. What do we got? Dwight Evans, Mark McGwire, 44. Carlton Fisk, 43. Bo Jackson, 39. RBIs behind Canseco, we've got Evans, McGwire, Dave Henderson, Ruben Sierra. Nobody really unexpected there, I would say. NL batting, we've got Dave Parker, Rafael Palmeiro, tied at 339. So I guess they each get half of a batting crown. What is, a tiara, I guess? I don't know. Tony Gwynn, 329. Bill Buckner, and Dave Winfield, I think. I know I mentioned Buckner earlier, but I think that's his first appearance on the leaderboards here. Kevin Mitchell, 57. 57 big flies. Eric Davis gets over the 50 homer plateau. And here's a Bob Horner appearance, 43. Kevin Mack and Glenn Davis. And then RBI leader, Eric Davis by 1 over Big Dave Winfield. Kevin Mitchell up here again. Dale Murphy, Bob Horner. Pitching leaders, what do we got? Brett Saberhagen, 2.27. Clemens, Alan Anderson. Now, he did have a good year in 88. Again, not totally unexpected there. Mark Gubiza might be his first mention here. John Tudor. Wins, we've got Clemens over Gubiza, Clay Parker, Eric Plunk, John Tudor. So guys like Parker and Plunk, I'm thinking are either there, just because of the dearth of pitching on the Mariners, for example, he might be in their rotation. I'd have to take a look. And Plunk with the Yankees again. He's either in their rotation or he's in middle relief and getting some spot starts. So let's see here. Quisenberry, 44. McGaffigan, Ossie, Olson. There's a Raleigh Fingers appearance for the A's. Okay, 30 saves. NL pitching. Jose De Leon, Mike Scott, both sub-2 ERAs. De Leon takes the crown. Pascal Perez had his no-hitter as an ERA, third in ERA here with a 2.65. Lance McCullers Sr. for the Phillies, and Scott Terry with the Reds. So there's a couple of names you may or may not have expected to show up here. Dwight Gooden, 21 wins. Mike Scott, Scott Terry, Pascal Perez, Danny Cox with 16. Save leaders, Dwayne Bice and Bob James tied with 40. Edging out Donnie Moore, Mark Davis, Mitch Williams. MVP, Ricky Henderson, clear leader in the MVP voting this particular season. His teammate Canseco with 405. We've got Hojo, Dwight Evans, Paul Molitor. And then on the NL side, Eric Davis with his 50-some homers, RBI leader. He gets the MVP in the National League with 439 votes over Kevin Mitchell, Dave Winfield, Dale Murphy, Kevin McReynolds. AL Cy Young, Roger Clemens is the clear winner over Gubicza, Tudor, David Cohn, Clay Parker. NL Cy is Doc Gooden over Scott, Terry, De Leon, and Pascal Perez. That is season 6 leaders. Take a look at this one. There we go. Special events. We're past the halfway mark here. If you're hanging with me, I appreciate it and appreciate the interest. Like I said, I did the whole concept with the original rosters here. I started this. It was probably back in 2010, I believe, and my research eventually led to my book, Hardball Retrospective. So if you haven't checked it out, hey, I'd appreciate if you'd take a look at it. Let me know what you think in the comments. It's well over 400 pages worth of commentary on basically I didn't do simulations there. It was just I was putting the players on the teams. Here's how these teams might have performed if they had kept these players for the durations of their careers. And it was more to show what organizations did well with drafting and signing players, and prior to the amateur draft, it was more of a building up your farm system through just through scouting and signing and that type of thing. So at any rate, check that out. We're in our special events for season 6 here. Let's get down to, let's see, past here. Let's take a look at some home runs and triple plays and whatnot. Again, we've got about 10 triple plays in the season. I'm just not going to drill down into each of these box scores because we'll be here forever. So unless something really stands out to me, we'll just kind of skim through these. Yeah, there's a bunch of 3-homer games here, no 4 homers. So Bruce Bochy, 3-homer game for the Astros. That one kind of stands out to me, but I'm not gonna look at the box for it. A couple of 6-hit games here, 2 by Willie McGee, 1 by Puckett. skip past the RBIs and runs scored, and steals, and errors. Only one cycle, Mike Heath. Mike Heath sighting here. In the park homers, we've got 9 of those. K's, bunch of 12s and 13s, 14s. I think 12 is the cutoff here, and you can adjust the, what you want to see here. 12 and above is interesting, but I'm looking here to, maybe like a 17 or an 18 strikeout game would be enough for me to take a peek at. No hitters, De Leon. We will look at this. So the Pirates 6, Phillies 0, De Leon, Jose De Leon, 2 walks, 7 Ks, 119 pitches. The Pirates scored 6. That was off. Let's see, who had it? Well, Bonds had a 3-hit game there. Bonilla 3-hit game. No homers. De Leon no hit the Phillies, so we've got Lonnie Smith, Julio Franco, George Bell, Mike Schmidt, Ryan Sandberg, Jim Morrison, Greg Walker, Keith Moreland, Darren Daulton. I'd say that's a pretty decent lineup here. So that was a pretty good feat for De Leon to no hit that group. I am noticing almost all right-handed bats except for Walker and Daulton. So De Leon held the platoon advantage. Probably helped a little bit, but still all professional hitters there. Nothing wrong with that one. So good game by De Leon. All right, that concludes our peek at Season 6 for the 85 through 89 Hardball Retro Originals. And let's keep cranking here. We'll move on to Season 7. Okay, restore. 7. Well, hope you're enjoying this as much as I am. Like I said, I didn't, I ran these replays, but I didn't really do a deep dive into, the individual seasons. So I'm getting a peek as you are here as we're going through this. So let's go to season overview. Should have an 8507 up here. There we go, 8507. So looks like the Red Sox, that's going to be 4.5 points for them, I believe. So I don't think anybody would be able to overtake them, but we still run our 10 seasons anyway. Yeah, kind of an arbitrary number, but I thought 10 seasons is a pretty fair way to approach, and determine a winner here. And like I said, we go beyond 10 games if there isn't a clear winner. But I don't think anybody's going to be able to overtake the Red Sox then. So 104 wins, 220 run diff, won 9 of their last 10 games. Yeah, they're pretty much the dominant team here. Tigers come through with a 93 win season. Brewers 88 wins, so they've been pretty consistent here. These two clubs, I would say. Indians lost their last 10 games, not good. Over in the AL West, we've got the Royals over the Twins, and the Rangers have a 500 season. Royals, 118 run diff. Nice. And after a good first season for the Angels, they've pretty much tanked on me here. So, unfortunately, not much to say about my Halos there. And again, if you look at the rosters from some of these teams, you know, you've got some decent players here. There's nothing wrong with, you know, maybe the top half of the Angels lineup and the top 2 or 3 in the rotation. But when you start to dig deep, and if you have a couple injuries or something, it kind of separates some of these teams where they have a really decent, maybe, you know, even like 10th or 11th batter on the bench, or somebody that they can pull up from their reserves to fill um, in the rotation or in the pen, and you know, as opposed to some of these other clubs where they just don't have the depth. So that's what you're seeing here as well. The Mets, that was a tight race here. Mets with 95 wins, Cardinals 94, Pirates 93. And the Cubbies finished 4th, but still can't get to 500, it looks like. All of these with 100 plus run differential here. And then over in the West, you've got the Reds over the Dodgers by 8 games, so a clear margin of victory for them. 100 run diff on the nose. Everybody else below 500. So let's see who we got here. There we go. Wade Boggs, finally. 374. Carney Lansford, Angels. All right, get to mention the Angels here. 359 for Carney. Willie McGee, again, he's been consistently in the top 5 in average, hitting 348 this season. George Brett, 340. Alan Trammell, 339. Yeah, nobody really unexpected here. And we got McGuire with 41 circuit clouts for the A's. Darrell Evans for the A's, 40. Mike Young, another 40. Barfield, 39. Johnson, 39. I think that's the 3rd season we've seen Mike Young with exactly 40 homers, so that's interesting. Hojo, 159 ribbies. Tom Brunansky, 128 for the Angels. So out of nowhere, Tom Brunansky. Ruben Sierra, 124. Eddie Murray again gets on the RBI leaderboard with 123. And Lance Parrish, 121 for the Tigers. Over in the NL, on offense, we've got a batting title for Steve Sachs, just barely eking out the victory over Tony Gwynn. There's Jose Oquendo again, 325. Cal Daniels sighting. And Max, Keith Hernandez, 321. All right, here we go. Darryl Strawberry. Haven't seen him on the leaderboard much, but 45 bombs here. Takes the home run lead over his buddy Eric Davis. Danny Tartable sighting, 38 homers for the Reds. Right, there's another guy like, oh, I remember him with the Royals and the Mariners and the Yankees. And oh, well, he started his career with the Reds, but I don't remember the details of the trade there from I guess from the Reds to the Mariners. Jack Clark with the Giants and Dale Murphy, 37 homers. RBI lead, Eric Davis over 2 over Strawberry and 3 over Van Slyke here. Jack Clark, Tartable. All right, AL ERA, Saberhagen again over his teammate Danny Jackson. Got another Jimmy Key sighting here for the Jays. Rick Anderson. For the Jays as a fill-in with a 310. Mark Ubiza 312. Wins. Roger Clemens 20. Chuck Krim, Danny Jackson, Brett Saberhagen, Dave Schmidt 18. Okay, a couple that you wouldn't expect there. Quiz 49 saves. Brian Harvey for the Angels 37. Doug Jones, Dale Mahorsic, and Greg Olson. NL ERA leaders, we've got Mike Scott with a 190, Hershiser 2.29, Doc Gooden, Pascal Perez, Trevor Wilson 269. Doc Gooden 22 wins, Joe McGrain, Mike Scott with 20. There's another Scott Terry sighting with 19, Mario Soto with 18. And then in the saves category, we've got Bob James over Jeff Russell, Todd Worrell, Dwayne Bice, Mitch Williams. And the MVP goes to Howard Johnson in the AL over Trammell, Henderson, Kirk Gibson, Robin Yount. NL MVP, Eric Davis over Darryl Strawberry, Andy Van Slyke, Dale Murphy, Andres Galarraga. AL Cy, Clemens over Chris Bosio, Danny Jackson, Brett Saberhagen, Bob Ojeda. And in the NL, we've got Dwight Gooden and Mike Scott, runner-up. Joe McGrain, Scott Terry, Mario Soto. All right, that's the 7th season. As far as the overview is concerned, let's take a look at special events. This crank through all the box scores. Yeah, this is kind of the sweet spot for my getting involved with baseball. I think the '84 season was the first year that I fully followed it. So 85, '89, doing a lot of baseball card collecting in that period. Fortunately, a lot of those cards are not worth anything. But I remember, just a lot of those. I would sort the cards by teams and put them in the protective pages and all that fun stuff. Try to create complete sets. So when I play the Immaculate Grid now, it's a lot of trying to recall what players were on what teams and trying to visualize the photos from the different cards and stuff. So, but I digress. Let's see, scrolling down a bit to what are we looking for here? Keep going. I don't care about left on base. Don't care about double plays. 8 triple plays. Not a lot of 3-homer games. Matt Williams, Jose Canseco, Darrell Evans, Bo Jackson, Carlton Fisk, Ruben Sierra. Okay. Multi-hit games. Well, not multi-hit. 5+ hit games. So Tim Wallach, Willie McGee with 6 hits. Okay, RBIs we're going to skip past. Runs scored, steals, skipping, errors, skipping. 2 cycles, Van Slyke and Joe Carter. In the park homers, we got 8 of them. K games, we got a 16K game by Mike Scott. Anybody else of interest? A couple 14s in there. Nope, we're going to keep going. No hitters. Jim Deshaies of the Yankees throws a no-hitter against the Red Sox. And Roger Clemens throws a no-hitter. Let's see the Jim Deshaies no-hitter here. Sorry. Game summary. 6 walks. 137 pitches. Let's click in here. So he walked Jim Rice 3 times. That's probably a wise move. Lefty-righty matchup there. But he had to work around a pretty tough lineup here. We've discussed this lineup already, so I won't belabor the point. But look here, even Benzinger. I mean, he was pretty decent. Todd Benzinger. Yeah. 3-for-3 game by Roberto Kelly. And there's Deshaies' line, 9 innings. Only 1 strikeout, but no hitter nonetheless. Beat John Tudor. All right, Roger Clemens. What did Mr. Clemens do here? He beat up on the White Sox. I think we've discussed their lineup already, but this is not a great lineup either. Yeah. Oh, there you go. Not really a great lineup. So, but it still counts in the record books, right? 9 innings, 2 walks, 11 Ks, no hits. So Clemens with the no-no. And let's get out of that. All right, season 7 in the books. Let's go to number 8. Too many double clicks. I clicked out of it. There we go. Overwrite. You might be wondering why I don't just, go to the overall standings and results. Well, I want to look at each individual season, look at the season overview. You get the player photos there, so it tells a little bit more of a story, and I can click into individual box scores. If I do the encyclopedia, I can see kind of the total career tally for those guys and the overall team standings, but I wanted to go kind of season by season, doing a recap here, so there you go. All right, season overview. We should have 8508 here. Yes, we do. Mets score the victory for that season with 101 wins. And let's see here. Got Red Sox again, winning the East over the Brew Crew and the Tigers. And the Yankees pull out a 500 season here, plus 500. So good job by the Bronx Bombers, but not enough, obviously, to do any significant damage in the standings. The Twins, right? We've been used to seeing the Royals and the A's kind of battling here. The Twins take the West. My Angels fall all the way to the bottom, but they avoid the 100-loss club, so that's a positive. We'll take a positive there. I forgot to mention the Sox, 260 run diff. The A's, Mariners, Royals, and Rangers all above 500 here, but the Twins take the divisional crown. Over in the NL East, we've got the Mets, clear winners over the Phillies and the Cardinals. Pirates getting a 500 win percentage here. The Cubs just narrowly avoided the 100-loss mark. And over here in the NL West, we almost had a 100-victory season from the Reds. 144 run differential. outpacing the Dodgers by 6 games, and the Padres finishing at 500. Everybody else well below, and the Braves with 104 losses and a minus 220 run diff. So that's not good. We've got Puckett again, batting title over McGee, Donnie Baseball, Trammell, and that's a surprise there, Randy Velarde. I would have to double check their lineup whether he's a full timer here, just based on lack of decent players for the White Sox. And we've got home run leaders, McGuire and Canseco, A's teammates. Ruben Sierra with 41. Jesse Barfield, Bo Jackson, no real surprises there. This is a bit of a surprise. Ivan Calderon with 133 ribbies, leading the league over Sierra, McGuire, Puckett, and Canseco. NL batting, we've got Sachs with another batting crown over Gwynn. So I'm kind of surprised that Gwynn's not hitting, is, not taking any batting titles here. Tim Raines, John Kruk, and Keith Hernandez. That might be Kruk's first appearance in the batting leaders. Obviously, Kevin Mitchell, 54 and 160, contributing to those 101 Met victories. Here's Eric Davis, George Bell, Strawberry, Murphy. Again, no real surprises here. Mitchell, Van Slyke, Davis, Strawberry, Bell. I would expect most of them to be up there anyway. Todd Burns, 187, unexpected, but I think he fits in as a spot starter / long relief for Oakland, so he probably barely met the innings requirement, but there you go. Tim Belcher making an appearance for the Yankees at 2.11 ERA. Clemens, Tudor, Ken Dixon, also another one we haven't heard from yet, 262. Wins, we've got Higuera, Tudor, Drabek, Langston, Saberhagen, McGaffigan with the save lead, 41 over Quisenberry, Harvey, Henneman, Schooler. ERA leaderboard, we've got Scott Sanderson, bit of a surprise there with a 2 ERA on the nose over Jose De Leon, Bob Walk, Pascal Perez, and Kevin Gross. So a couple of newbies here. Doyle Alexander, first time we mentioned him for the Dodgers, 18 wins. Teammate Bob Welch, also 18. Andujar, De Leon, Hershiser. So the Dodgers with 3 of the top 5, but yet they didn't win their division. Dwayne Bice, save leader again. Mark Davis, Russell, Reardon, and James. And then MVP, we've got Hojo again over Ricky, Molitor, Sierra, and McGuire. NL, we've got Kevin Mitchell, 414 over Davis, Strawberry, Van Slyke, and Tim Rock Raines. AL Cy, we've got Tudor over Higuera, Drabek, Ron Darling, Mark Langston, again, Darling with the Rangers, Drabek with the White Sox, so just keeping that in mind. These guys are with their original teams. And NL Cy Young, Doyle Alexander, edges Jose De Leon for the NL Cy Young Award, with Joaquin Andujar third, or tied for third with Welch, and Bob Walk also in the mix. All right, let's take a look at Season 8 special events. Click. All right, we're done with this one. We'll be through 8 of the 10 seasons for the 1985 through 1989 Hardball Retro Originals. Boston Red Sox being the fairly clear leader here, with the Mets, I would say, a strong showing in second place. And we've got a couple other teams in the mix, obviously. And we're going to have, as I mentioned, the point leader will be you know, uh, that will be the winner, but we will have a playoff just more for fun. And with the 85-89, that will be the top team in the AL East versus the top team in the AL West for the American League Championship Series, and then the same with the National League East, National League West, and then the winner of that series will play the World Series, but again, it's just for exhibition, just for fun. Um, those videos will be available on my channel. Let's see, scroll down a bit. Let's get to let's see, triple plays. Got about 10, 11 of those. Home runs, number 3 homer games. So we had Canseco, Ron Say. There's Floyd Rayford again. Darryl Strawberry. Don Mattingly with 3. Nick Asaski, Pete O'Brien. Hits BJ Surhoff. Ernest Riles. And Johnny Ray. Skip RBIs, we're going to skip steals, we're going to skip errors, 4 inside the park homers, Ron Karkovice inside the Parker, interesting. Okay, K's, we got a 17K game from Mike Scott. Do we have any others? 16 by Aguilera. Yeah, I mean, I'm probably not going to click in unless it's 18 or better, I would say, but one no. Eric Shao versus the Cubs. 3 strikeouts, 2 walks, 9 innings, 108 pitches. John Kruk, 3 for 4, 2 RBIs. Let's look at the Cubbies lineup. Billy Hatcher, Scott Fletcher, Mark Grace, Joe Carter, Mel Hall, Rafael Palmeiro, Sean Dunston, Fritz Connolly, Joe Girardi. I mean, not the worst lineup. No fill-ins, so Eric Shao has done well in several of these replays, so good for him. Good year, good game. And Dennis Lamp. All right, so that takes us up to season 9. Okay, let's go. Season 9. All right, season overview. What do we got? Make sure we're looking at the right year here. Should be. As soon as that pops up. 8509. Yep. Red Sox 100 wins. Yep, we got another Red Sox winner. And let's see. So let's just go through this here. AL East. Red Sox over the Jays. Now, look at that. I've seen the Jays down here a number of times, so that's nice to see them with 94 victories. Only 7 back of the Sox, so they had a really strong season, and everybody else below 500. So that's good to see. Royals in the West, 6 games over the A's. Hey, there's my Halos. All right, 84 wins. We got a 500 season, above 500. Forgot to mention the Sox with the 221. That looks like the best run differential. Twins at 500 over here. The Sox, 102 losses. Let's look at the Mets over the Cardinals here by 3.5. Both teams very good in the run differential column. The Pirates and the Phillies both over 500. And then in the NL West, we have the Giants. The Dodgers just playing 500 ball. So the Giants take the division. And let's look at the leaderboard. All right. Wade Boggs wins the batting title easily, 382. Paul Molitor a distant second, but nothing to be ashamed of at 348. Harold Reynolds, I think that's his first appearance on the list here, 337 for the Mariners. Willie McGee, Kevin Bass, first appearance here, I think, as well, 322 for the Brew Crew. So let's move over into the home run column. We've got McGuire, 55, Barfield, 50, Guerrero, 46, and Bo Jackson and Fred McGriff with 42. RBI lead, we've got McGuire, 157, well ahead of, there's Calderon again, though, 138. Dwight Evans, Gary Gaetti, Jesse Barfield. So we've seen most of these guys up here in the leaderboards a few times at least. Oh, look at Johnny Grubb, 347 batting average. Wow. Well, good for him. I guess he made the best of his playing time there. Will Clark, Van Slyke, Steve Sachs, Ozzie Smith. Home run leaders, Jack Clark, 55. Mitchell, 45. Van Slyke, 43. Bell, Davis. Over here in the Ribby column, we've got Van Slyke with 163. That's got to be, if not the top mark, that's way up there. I don't remember seeing anybody that high. But Jack Clark, 147. Kevin Mitchell, Andres Galarraga, and George Bell. Then in the ERA, AL ERA leaders, we've got David Cohn, Rick Anderson again, making another appearance, helping out those Jays. Again, plus sign, so it's not his original team, but he was a fill-in for the Jays there. Kevin Tapani, first appearance on the list with a 2.69 for the A's. John Tudor, Dave Schmidt, I've seen him a couple times here. Clemens and Mike Witt tied with 19 wins. There's Bud Black, first appearance for Bud Black as a Mariner, 17. Chris Bosio, Bob Ojeda. And then in saves, we got Don Ossie, a couple saves better than Quisenberry. And then Mahorsic, McGaffigan, and Henneman filling out the top 5 there. NL pitching, we've got Mike Scott, 2.29, ahead of Fernando Valenzuela, Scott Gereltz, Bob Welch, and Mike Dunn making an appearance here with a 2.82 ERA. Here's another first-timer, Mike Bilecki with 19 wins, tied with Jose De Leon. Bilecki for the Pirates, So teammates of De Leon here. Doc Gooden with 18 wins, Oral Hershiser, Mike Krukow with 17. Krukow, I think that's his first appearance here. Saves, we got Reardon, Bice, Moore, Morrell, Smith. MVP, McGuire. Edges, Jesse Barfield by 2 votes. Got Ricky Henderson, Gibson, and Molitor. And then in the NL MVP race, those RBIs for Van Slyke, 432 votes, ahead of Jack Clark, Andres Galarraga, Kevin Mitchell, Will Clark. AL Cy, we've got Bob Ojeda and Mike Witt sharing the award, 230 votes apiece, ahead of Clemens, Bud Black, and Chris Basio. NL Cy goes to, we also have a tie. Teammates, De Leon and Bilecki, 245, ahead of Krukow, Gooden, and Gereltz. And then we're going to look at special events for Season 9 here. Go to our report tool, bring that up. So if you stayed with me this long, I really appreciate it. If you skipped ahead just to see the winner, that's also fine. We're almost there. We're looking at Season 9 special events here. So we're almost to the finish line here. Like I said, this 85 through 89, this was kind of the sweet spot for me, you know, getting into baseball, and I really, I guess, jumped in with both feet. You know, I got into the card collecting. We started going to primarily games at Yankee Stadium. Went to Shea Stadium a couple of times. Veteran Stadium. We did a couple road trips down to Philly. So being based in Central Jersey, it was nice to have access to those 3 teams. The games were always on television and radio, so that was also, you know, these are, you know, before the days of MLB Network and ESPN and all of those things having, you know, games on nightly. I was able to, you know, have my fill of baseball at that time. So let's see, let's scroll down here. All right, we've got only 7 triple plays this year. That's a little bit fewer than I've been seeing. Home run games. A lot of 3-homer games in this particular replay. I won't go through all of them. Just seeing if there's any 4-homer games. Anybody like really jumps out as like out of the ordinary here. Probably wouldn't expect a 3-homer game out of Seitzer. Johnny Grubb 3-homer game. But I don't see any 4-homers, so we're gonna keep moving here. Wade Boggs 6 hits. Mitch Webster 6 hits. Interesting. Okay, keep it moving. Stolen bases, errors, don't care. Cycles, 1, 2, 3, 4 cycles. In the park homer, a bunch of them. Gonna skip through that. K games, got a 15 by Aguilera. Got a bunch of 12, 13, and 14 K games. 15 by Scott twice. 13, 14, 13, 12. Nope. 4 no-hitters. Well, let's just dive in. Sean Hillegas, Fernando Valenzuela. I'm going to say that's probably Rick Naylor. And Mike Dunn. Maybe it's Mickey Mailer. Well, I guess we'll find out. Let's see. It's one of the Mailer boys. Sean Hillegas. Oh, no hits, no walks. Could be a perfect game. 27 batters faced. Let's see here. There's those Cubbies again. Pretty much same lineup as before, so I'm not going to go through that again. Hillegas, 9 innings, nothing. 2 Ks only. Scorecard. Ground out, ground out, ground out. Strikeout, ground out. Fly out, pop up, ground out. Oh, there was an error there. Reached on error, and then a double play, so not a perfect game. All right. Oh, there you go. Still a pretty amazing effort by Mr. Hillegas. And now we'll look at Fernando back here. 10 strikeouts, but 8 walks. Wow. Against the Astros, let's see, Bill Doran, Darryl Thomas, Cesar Cedeno, Glenn Davis, Cliff Johnson, Ken Caminiti, Mark Bailey, Johnny Ray, Greg Biggio. Nothing wrong with that lineup. Let's see. Mitch Webster homered. Hillegas took the loss in that one. And there's Fernando, yeah. 8 walks, 10 Ks. All right. Mailer. Which Mailer was it? Let's go to the game summary. Mickey Mailer. That. Yeah, save your ticket stub. Definitely. 5 Ks, 4 walks, and 9 innings. Let's check out the box here. So this is against the Cardinals, and he was pitching as a fill-in for the Padres. Coleman, Pendleton, Hernandez, Terry Kennedy, Leon Durham, Jose Cruz, Tommy Herr, Gary Templeton, Andy Van Slyke. Wow, that's pretty amazing. That is incredible. Well, you just never know, right? Sometimes you go to a ball game and you show up and there's 2 pitchers and it's like, who are these guys? And then, somebody can still throw a gem. Mickey Mailer. Look at that. Cool. That's why we do this, right? At least that's why I do this. This is fun to me. Would not have expected Mickey Mailer, and if I ran 100 of these, I would not have expected him to throw a no-no. All right. Well, it looks like the Cardinals were on the winning end here, and this is the Mike Dunn no-hitter. No hits, no walks, 5 Ks, 27 batters faced. Astros lineup we already discussed. A little bit different here. Carmen Castillo, Terry Poole, Larry Boa is a fill-in. Castillo is a fill-in as well. I forgot to mention that. So I don't see any errors, so let's take a look at the scorecard. Looks clean so far. That looks like a perfecto by Mike Dunn. And struck out Boa for the final out. That is cool. All right. That gets us through season 9. So let's get to season 10 and wrap this thing up. Boston has enough points to win it, and it's just a formality at this point, but I still want to see season 10. Okay. Season overview. What do we got? Well, we have another Red Sox victory here, 107 wins. Nobody else over 100, so they get another point. 201 run diff. Mets topped them with 212 though, but the Mets did not win their division that year. All right, Brewers, Jays above 500. AL West, what do we got? Royals over the A's and the M's and the Rangers, and the Twins even finished 500, but the Royals pulled it out with 126 run differential and 11 games over those A's and Mariners. NL East, we've got the Pirates taking the division by 4 games over the Mets, 4.5 over the Cardinals. Everybody else sub 500. Pirates pretty good run differential there too. The Reds with a -1 run diff, but they win the division by 1 game over the Dodgers. Pretty cool. Everybody else sub 500 there. Nobody with 100 losses. All right, let's look at the leaderboards for season 10 here. Boggs at 360, edging Don Mattingly for the batting crown. Puckett up there again. Carney Lansford, Tony Fernandez. Home run leader is McGuire with 59. And Dewey Evans with 176 ribbies. I think that's going to be tops. But nothing wrong here. Barfield, Evans, McGriff all with 44 dingers. Mike Young, oh, he does get 41 instead of 40 here. Evans, 176 ribbies. That's incredible. McGuire, McGriff, Calderon, Hojo. NL, there we go. Tony Gwynn, batting crown. Took him long enough, this particular series of replays, but he does come out on top finally. Rafael Palmeiro, second with a 328. Ozzie Smith, the Wizard. Okendo again, 317. Bip Roberts makes an appearance here with a 316 batting average. Kevin Mitchell, 67 homers. I'm pretty sure that's tops for this round of replays. 166 ribbies, pretty amazing. Just going down the homer list: Jack Clark, Strawberry, Glenn Davis, Dale Murphy, and then ribbies we've got Mitchell, Van Slyke, Jack Clark, Bobby Bowe, Danny Tardable. AL pitching leaders, we've got Saberhagen over Candiotti, Mike Moore, Mike Witt, Bert Blyleven. I don't recall seeing Candiotti and Moore previously, so that's nice. 22 wins for Clemens, followed by Tudor, Krim, Higuera, and Mike Moore. Righetti with 40 saves, ahead of Doug Jones, Quisenberry, Mahorsic, and Jesse Orosco of the Twins. And then we go to the NL pitching leaders. ERA, Bob Walk, Doc Gooden, Scott Gereltz, Floyd Yeomans, Rick Aguilera. Win leaders, 1, 2, 3 guys tied with 17. Dan Spillner sighting. Tom Browning. Okay, so some new guys up on the list here, even though we're 10 seasons in. So that's cool. Saves, we got Bice, Reardon, Davis, Russell, Franco. MVP, Dwight Evans with all those ribbies over McGuire. Hojo, Ricky Henderson, George Brett. NL MVP goes to Kevin Mitchell. Um, Van Slyke, Clark, Bobby Bowe, Strawberry. And then in the AL for Cy Young, we've got Clemens, well ahead of Tudor, Krim, Candiotti, and Moore. NL Cy Young is Ty, Andujar, and Garelts. And then we've got Hershiser, Gooden, and Niedenfuhr. Tom Niedenfuhr, how did he get up there? Interesting. All right. Let's look at our special events from season 10. And then maybe we'll take a quick peek at the encyclopedia reports and then we'll wrap this up. As I mentioned, there's additional, I've exported the reports from the individual seasons along with the encyclopedia reports. They're tied to the article on my website. So if you go to hardballretro.com and go to the retro replay page, you will find the article on Hardball Retro replays. Let me bring up the actual article name so I'm giving you the right information here. It is called Hardball Retro Replays, Sim Seasons with Original and Actual Half-Decade Rosters. And then when you click into that, you can click into the individual seasons. So you'll see like the 1985 through 89 Hardball Retro Original replay. You click into that, and then you'll get the option to view all the reports. So it'll be more comprehensive than what I'm showing on the video here. But I wanted to do the video as a just as a companion to show some of the features of Digital Diamond, along with, the player photos, the logos. The reports are just the reports, right? So there's no images tied to those. It's just text. So I felt this would be a little more interactive. So scroll down here. And then also on that article, they're not there. Well, it depends when you view the video, but there will be the links to the World Series videos that I'm gonna play. The full games. I'm not gonna simulate those games. I'm gonna do an actual game where I play against the computer. Or, you'll see the full play-by-play as the game happens. So. Let's see, triple plays. Yeah, so we're about averaging anywhere between 8 and 10 triple plays a year. Home runs. Andre Robertson with 3 homers. That's unique. That's interesting. Let's see here. What else we got? Canseco, Gaetti, Mitchell, Marshall, Clark, McGuire. These are all 3 homer names. Glenn Davis, Clark, Henderson, Don Baylor, 4 homer game. We're gonna have to look at that. Okay. Don Baylor, one of my favorite players, former Angel MVP AL MVP in '79 for the Angels. 4 for 5, 4 homers and 6 ribbies. So let's see here. Newspaper box. Where am I looking here? Yeah, 4 dingers. Scorecard for Baylor. So 2nd inning, 4th inning, 5th inning. Then he lined out to short, and then he homered again in the 9th. So nice 4 homer day for Baylor there. Oh, I missed that one. 4 homers for Henderson here. Click into that. Homer, line out, homer for Dave Henderson. 4 homers, 9 ribbies. Wow. All right. Let's see, cycles. We got 6 cycles. We've got a number of in the park homers. Ks, we've got Let's see any interesting ones here. Nope. Other dog yapping in the background, maybe. A lot of yapping going on. All right, complete games. That's not what I was interested in. Oh, I guess there were no no-hitters, so it just doesn't show them there. So. Okay, so I just wanted to run through a couple of items real quick before we go into the encyclopedia reports. So if anyone was wondering how I got the last two digits of the year appended to the player names, you go into, sorry, I clicked into it before I said it there. You click in library options here. You go to advanced options, click show, miscellaneous options, and you set this to true, add year to last name. That'll append the last two digits of the year. So if you're playing if you create a library in Digital Diamond that has, a single season, this doesn't really apply. But if you have, like I created here with players from 5 different seasons, it is helpful to have in this particular case, like the -85, -86, and so on, so you know what year statistics are used for a given player. I'm going to cancel out of this. And the other thing I wanted to mention is if you're not familiar with the encyclopedia option, down here under reporting, click on encyclopedia. So the first thing you do before you start your first season is you create a new encyclopedia. You just type in a name here, which is what I did was HB-Retro-8589, and you click new. That creates this database here. And then from the drop down, you select that database, the name that you just created. And then what you do after you simulate a season, complete the schedule. What I normally do is let me go back out of here for a second. So normally I go here, back up this library. First thing I want to do is back it up just in case. And also because I want to go back and forth, potentially restoring that library, checking out the stats, and then restoring a library from, the first season, the second season, and so forth. So I do backup, then I come down to encyclopedia, and I click update the encyclopedia with stats in this library. So if I'm on, let's say I was on season 3, and I click this, that would add the stats from season 3 to the ones that I had previously saved from season 1 and season 2. Close that. So then when I go into reports, and I go down here to encyclopedia reports, I should have, in this particular case, I should have all 10 seasons worth. So if I go, let's say awards by year, and I like to filter it this way, so I'm looking from season 1 down to season 10. This is another reason why I number them the way I do. So you can look here and you see the AL Cy Young for the first season that I ran was Bob Tewksbury, and the AL MVP was Howard Johnson, and the NL Cy Young was Fernando Valenzuela, MVP was Kevin Mitchell in the NL, and so forth. So that's a quick glance at the awards. The article also has all of these reports, so you can look through them there in a little more detail. I'm just going to kind of breeze through them here. Franchise standings. So here you get the overall 10 seasons worth. The other nice thing about doing 10 seasons, which most of my sims should be resolved in 10 years. Some of them may go a few more, but if they resolve in 10 seasons, then you can just divide these numbers by 10 easily. So you can see, that the Red Sox averaged 100 or 101 wins per replay with only 60 losses. You just divide these by 10, right? Um, so you got the Sox, the Mets, the Royals, the Reds, and since I'm going to be doing a AL and NL Championship Series and then a World Series, so the American League is going to feature the Royals and the Red Sox, and the NL Championship Series will be the Mets and the Reds. So, and then you can look for your favorite team down, potentially down the list here. Hey, my Angels didn't finish dead last, but that's a pretty poor finish there. Division winners by year, again, can go start to finish here. So pretty self-explanatory. So now, if I look at this from here, I don't have to restore the 1985-1989, 01, 02, 03 library individually. I can just come here and look at the division winners. Let's see, franchise batting. This is the overall team totals. So let's sort, let's just say, let's sort by OPS, right? Top to bottom. Obviously, Red Sox, 819 OPS kind of outshines the rest of the clubs here. Scroll to the bottom. White Sox with the 701. Pretty awful. Pitching, same deal. You can sort it on ERA. You can sort by WHIP. ERA is the Mets. WHIP is the Mets. Let's go, I don't know, saves. I got it backwards there. There we go. So Royals, Dan Quisenberry, who had the most strikeouts. Mets, by a long shot, right? A lot of different categories you can sort on. I'm not going to do all these. Actually, let's go back to field batting for a second. Who had the most homers? A's. Canseco, McGuire. I know they had some other guys. And the Cardinals last. You would expect that. How about steals? Cardinals lead in steals. Top on base, Red Sox. All right, top slug, probably Red Sox also. Yep. Okay. Fielding, not a whole lot going on in fielding. It's your standard fielding percentage. Orioles. Career leaders. So let's do. I'd like to change this to, since we're looking at 10 years worth, right? So let's do 3,000 and 1,000 for the minimum plate appearances, minimum innings pitched, right? All right. So top 5 on the leaderboard: Boggs, McGee, Puckett, Molitor, Lansford. On base, I'm not going to talk to all of these, but I'll just scroll through. And, batting with the bases loaded. So there's some runners in scoring position. Here we go, homers. So again, with the 10 seasons, you just divide this by 10. So Mitchell averaged 45, 46 homers per season. Canseco 42, Barfield 42, Clark 40, let's call it 41 if you want to round up, and Eric Davis. Ricky Henderson averaging 131 runs per year, 132. RBIs, Van Slyke, Kevin Mitchell, Hojo, Canseco, Clark. Steals, Vince Coleman, 98, almost 99 steals per season. Tim Raines, Henderson, Billy Hatcher, and Paul Mahler with exactly 500, so 50 steals per year. Hits. So Puckett 241 hits. It's pretty amazing. All of these guys well over the 200 mark. Strikeouts. Pete and Cavilla 212. We run this nowadays. This probably all 5 guys would be over 200. Doubles, triples. Wade Boggs edging out Donnie Mattingly and Paul Molitor. Willie Wilson, the triples leader. So anyhow, that's the batting leaders. Pitching, same deal. We're looking at 1,000 innings pitched here, and pretty much who maybe some of these guys you wouldn't expect up there, but certainly Scott and Gooden. Innings, wins leaders. Clemens 19 wins per year. Gooden practically 19. Saves Quisenberry 38.5 per year. Strikeouts, a couple guys over 200 on average. Home runs allowed, Floyd Bannister 45. Wow. Hits per 9, strikeouts per 9, walks per 9. All right, so that's that. And then if we go to all career batting, and I'm going to drop this down now to yeah, there's still plenty of guys here. I'm just going to leave it for now, but you can, just go into options. You can tweak the minimums here if you want to see more players. But same deal if you want to see guys over the course of the 10 seasons. Jim Sundberg with a 209 average. Again, these are all guys with at least 3,000 plate appearances. So. And then same deal with pitching. ERA. Let's look at worst ERA. Mark Thurman, Matt Young, Jeff Musselman, Neil Heaton, Juan Nieves, all well above 5.4. Worst whip. Musselman, Young, Thurman, Negro, Bill Swift. Okay. So I think I'm going to wrap it up here. Hope you enjoyed this. This is one of many that I'm going to be doing, so appreciate you hanging with me this long, or even skipping ahead to the end if that's what you did. But until next time, keep playing ball, and we'll see you soon. Thanks again.